God, thank you for this moment. Thank you for bringing my partner and I together to do another great show. And God, I just ask that your will be done. I just pray that we are in alignment with you. We continue to stay in alignment with you, and that we deliver some really conscious things and takeaways for ourselves and our listeners. Amen.
Amen. What's good, y'all? This is the Trapping with God's podcast. I'm Angela.
And I'm your girl, Keisha.
And we are trapping today in our semi-new studio.
This shit's nice.
Yeah, and we glad that y'all here with us. We getting it together.
For sure. Just want to thank all the people that have been hanging in there with us. We truly appreciate all the love and support more than you know. We definitely need the encouragement.
Yep.
And the love.
It means a lot and we feel it.
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yep. Y'all know sometimes starting stuff like this can be like you have to give yourself what was I saying earlier? We got to give ourselves credit.
We got to acknowledge the fucking consistency that we have been putting into it. So I would definitely agree. Sure, we've had some hiccups.
And sometimes you don't see things like I was saying, you don't see stuff as because it's on a smaller scale. It's like you don't really think, but we've been doing this now for over a month. We had this idea since when I don't know, end of last year sometime.
So it's here. It's actually we in the middle of manifesting this.
Mm-hmm. In the middle of manifesting it.
Yes,
I love that.
Yes. This is.
Any topics you want to talk about in particular, or you want to talk about Mickey? Because I've been excited about him. I don't know if
I've been excited. I feel like we've been talking about Mickey before we even jumped on the mic. The biggest thing we've been talking about is fucking letting shit go.
Let it go. Let it burn.
Oh man,
I love that you brought that up.
Let it burn. Goddamn it. I think, man, a lot of us don't want to let shit burn.
No,
I'm thinking about some shit.
No, because that shit in my mind right now, dog.
It don't fucking feel good. Let's talk about fucked up shit when shit.
Come on, I see it in your eyes, dog.
Get this in. Yeah. I'm getting into this shit, man. Life be lifing sometimes. Mm-hmm. All the time. Life be life all the time. And we experience shit. You know what I'm saying? That we don't want to fucking experience. Let's just fucking talk about it.
I'm over here exhaling.
Breathe.
We got to do that.
We have to do that. But how when some stuff comes up, how can you say, because I feel like I be saying I don't want a lot of shit. I be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want this. I don't want that. But life's still going to do what it's gonna do. So you could say you don't want it. All you want to is that are you resisting reality at that point? Because whatever the experience is, it either is occurring or has happened. Sometimes you can't prevent certain things from happening. So
okay, so let's talk about some of the stuff that Mickey talked about. As far as this just made me think about this when he's like, basically, it's your choice. Like, if you
and let's be clear, who are we talking about? Okay, for our listeners that don't know who Mickey is, we done gave him a whole goddamn.
I've thought I was like, if I meet him, will he let me? Did I already talk about this on the episode? When I said would I call him Mickey? Maybe. Or would I be like, Mr.
But go ahead,
Mickey,
girl, go with it,
Mr. Michael?
Go with it,
like.
We talking about famous author Michael Singer. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
He's New York Times bestseller of The Surrender Experiment
and The Untethered Soul
and Living Untethered, right?
Mm-hmm, his most recent book.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So go ahead.
We were listening to his audio on YouTube, and he was talking about. He always used to talk about letting go, basically. And so he's just offering perspectives on how to let go, or why we hold on to things, or why we have anxiety, or I don't want to say trauma. What's the word I'm looking for? not anxiety, but desires. Like desires are preferences and how they affect our reactions and responses and perceptions of things. So he was saying that you have to, like he was saying, why don't you look at if a car cuts you off on the street, that you just laugh at it like or you had to like stop really fast and your car skid down the street. You like that was fun. Like,
it was exciting.
Yeah,
it's over now. It's just over.
Yeah. And your face, you were like,
because Angela gonna text me talking about this. You ain't say this nigga, but you was like, did you say Mickey?
I was like,
yeah, talking about if your car skid, it's exciting.
I did.
I was like, Angela looking to probably think this motherfucker crazy.
I'm
right
just
now.
thinking like, that's interesting. But to sit back,
that perspective,
yeah, I did. I tried it till I went unconscious yesterday. But you know, when things were happening, I was like, that's fun. Like, you know, I got a little situation right now with a relationship, and I'm like, it. You know, I could have thoughts that could make me sad about it, or I could look at it and say, but not like that's just like not that just that's just life, but like, oh, that was fun.
Just switch up the perspective.
You know, that was fun. I enjoyed that relationship while it lasted, and I learned so much. And
I think you gotta progress though and get to a place.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like for me,
mm-hmm.
because one of the things that we were talking about before we started recording was when he was saying, okay, so some of us motherfucker like me done had shit bottled up in you for a while, and you done try to suppress some shit and keep it hidden, locked up down in a cave, so not even you can fucking access the shit, you know, because it's not something you want to deal with. But it's like what resonated for me was when he was saying, okay, so people are asking like, how do you do it? I think that's the magic question, like, how do you fucking let go?
Yeah.
And so he was like, okay, I know you want to know. You want to know how do you let it go? Let the shit come up.
Yeah.
Just let it come up and out of you. Like, so me and Angela just had a whole fucking crying session before we cut this thing on.
Yeah.
But literally, we both were just letting shit flow. And it's like shit that probably should not even be. And I can't even say that. That's so dismissive.
I'm
to
glad
say.
You checked yourself.
I had to check myself. Dismissive to say, oh, it's been this many years.
It shouldn't be.
No, it is what it is. It's no judgment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you got something that's probably been on your shoulder or been inside of you that you've been suppressing for years, and finally you have the courage, let's say that first off, because shit is scary. For me, it's like, man, because you don't want to feel this fucking shit you done tried to suppress in your mind for years and years and years, and it's like, okay, you gonna I gotta feel this shit again? Like, wait a fucking minute. No, wait a minute.
That's why you said let it burn.
Let it burn. But it's so, if you have, first of all, that's really courageous. If you have you want to confront this and go through this process, I think that's a courageous thing to do.
Yes.
Yeah. First and foremost.
I definitely, I feel like it could be a possible balance with it. Maybe. I don't know. I'm figuring it out. But to have a perspective like he's saying, but also like, yeah, feel the things.
Fuck yeah.
You know, and yeah, just let it come up.
Yeah.
And I'm saying let it burn because I really like that.
I like it too.
When you said that
Usher
off camera.
Usher been said it.
Yeah.
Let it burn. And even I was thinking about, man, I was in love actually when that song came out. I don't know when the fucking Confessions. I feel like, no, you know what? You Got It Bad is what I'm thinking about. Ooh. That's another goddamn song.
I feel like that was before 2000.
That was back when I was in high school.
Yeah.
You Got It Bad is what I'm thinking about.
Okay.
But and I could remember myself crying to that shit because I really was in. I had it bad for somebody. And then I was crying, but that was listening to that song and I started shedding tears. Like, That's a part of what I think Mickey's talking about when I'm saying it's courageous because some people have really dealt with some really traumatic ass experiences they've tried to suppress for years. So to like be courageous enough to actually say, all right, I know I've had this shit locked in the cave for however long, but I don't want this shit in there no more.
Yeah.
And
let it come up.
And just let that shit come up because it's gonna come up. For me, I felt like I said we was having a whole crying session. I'm like, this shit has happened so long ago. Why the fuck am I still affected by this shit? I never dealt with it.
Yeah.
I never dealt with it. I just tried to tuck it deep.
And then but having to deal with it even
open
10 years
Pandora's
later
box, is that,
or even then it's the same thing. You're not what that text say? If you lose it, you're not losing your mind about a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Lose your mind about a nigga.
That's what I said. Lose your mind about a nigga.
Yeah, or whatever it is. Lose your mind about the job
or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I always gotta put a fucking disclaimer.
Go ahead, dog.
We talking about within safe boundaries. You know, I just want to make sure we are very clear about that. We not talking about go blow somebody's house up or some shit like that. But I mean, because I feel like these days you gotta say that shit. I don't know that, man. They over there talking about check you on this podcast. They talking about do shit that make you feel good. No, what we talking about is get to the truth. Like get that shit. That's the first thing. Realizing you don't want to be affected by it. You no longer want this to affect your life. Then realizing like some shit, uncomfortable shit, is gonna come up.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And having the courage to face that.
Yeah, and sit with it.
Yes, and let it pass. Per his, how he say, let it pass through you. Like, but one of the things that I really love that he did say was recognize who's recognizing that though. Who that thing that's aware of what it is you're feeling or whatever it is that's coming up for you. You are aware of that.
That's not who you are.
Correct.
Yeah.
I love that. Cause it's almost like, well, we talking about getting the truth. It's very enlightening to know that that's not me. I felt that shit, but it wasn't truly me. Like I didn't have to identify with that. I don't know if that makes sense.
No.
I feel we have shit that happens to us, and it's like it literally comes inside, and it lives there, and it becomes a part of your being. It's almost like it's in your spirit. It's almost like an infection, like your immune system. Like you get sick. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking of. Like, okay, you good, you perfectly healthy. Like I feel great. If I leave here and I'm like, fuck, I started to develop the sniffles and it turned into a full blown out cold. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I feel like we can't avoid it. Some like with colds, with some shit we just can't avoid getting in there. But it's like, how do we get well again? How do we let it go? How do we get it out of there?
You gotta have a burning fucking desire for that shit.
Yeah. Hey, I
really
agree. You gotta not want it in there.
You gotta not want it in there. You gotta fucking what people. I think it's a difference. What I'm talking about, wake up. I'm not talking about being woke. Like in the form of how people be talking about being woke and shit. I feel like you gotta wake up. You gotta be conscious.
The consciousness. That's God right there.
Come on now. I love.
Nah, man.
It be on repeat, dog. Like I love when you say that. That's God.
That's God. It is, man.
I be forgetting.
Hey, that's what we here for. We talking about the truth. When you can say with the consciousness, you are aware, okay, of that like situation or whatever that is. That's like, it's almost like you could say it's a bird's eye view, or you could it's an out of body experience where you could like step outside of it. Like, you know, some shit on movies, people you can see, it's like if they almost die or something, they step outside and they can see themselves. Like, yeah, that's what I would equate to God in a certain kind of way. Because it's like, but you are that awareness knowing that, okay, yes, this happened to me. You that consciousness knowing this happened to me, but it's not me. Like, it's not actually me. It's just something that actually happened. I experienced it, but it's not me. When I say that, I feel like I can only speak from experience. It's been things that have happened in my life that is now part of my story. Like, that's what I say. I'm like, oh, that happened to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happened to me. But the consciousness is like that. It's almost like not actually identify. I don't know where I'm going with this, Angela. I got to be able to find a way to
Look,
try to break it down.
This is why we're here. This is what we be doing.
Yeah.
Like,
I should have wrote down a note on how he described consciousness. Mm-hmm. But even though...
But I like you breaking that down for me a little bit more, too, because when he says that you are the watcher, you know, that's what untethered soul is. I think he starts it off by, like, you're in the seat of your soul, like, watch your thoughts or whatever. But I've been like, okay, so what the fuck you mean, like, sit back and watch what you're saying? He's like, say no real loud in your mind right now. Who's hearing that? We're talking about Michael Singer still, y'all.
Michael Singer, yes, sure. He has some very interesting but enlightening concepts. But what he's saying, he'll be like, say yes ma'am in your head 3 times. Mm-hmm. You know you just said yes ma'am in your head 3 times, don't you?
That's exactly what he was saying. Like, you know you just said that.
Mean, because you know, you literally can tell yourself, this mind is fucking amazing. First of all, let's be clear about that.
We're amazing as humans. Like, yes, you're absolutely right.
To be able to be like, tell yourself. Let's stop right here. To be able to be like, tell yourself. First off, I'm getting hyped as fuck right now.
Hype.
But Cardi B, I don't know if you ever seen her do an interview before where she's talking about, she be like, I be having a whole fucking conversation in my head.
Like, a lot of people be saying, oh, I met Cardi B and I don't know if she liked me or not because she was looking at me like if I'm crazy or if I was retarded or something. But that's not the problem. The problem is that I have a voice in my head that when I'm talking to people, it just start having a conversation with me and I be replying back. Like, you could be talking to me and the voice in my head, I don't know where, start asking me questions like, hey, what happened to your green Balenciaga shirt that you wore the other day? And then I reply back in my head like, I don't know, bitch, I think I left it at my grandma's house. And then me and the voice in my head start going back and forth while you talking to me. So I'm really not paying attention because the voice in my head is fucking talking to me. I don't know if that shit happened to people. That shit be happening to me. So I just be looking at you like, because I'm talking, I'm having a whole conversation in my fucking thoughts.
How the fuck the mind is so amazing? You're literally having a conversation with somebody. Your mouth is fucking moving, but in your brain, you like, this bitch is dumb. To me,
you like, that shit is amazing.
I don't think we sit and really.
And we don't think. Do you think that most people are realizing they saying this bitch is dumb?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think.
But.
Maybe sometimes. But I think people are aware they're saying that bitch is dumb.
Okay.
How you saying yes ma'am 3 times in your head? Are you aware of that? We're going back to Michael Singer now.
I know. I mean,
okay.
I don't know. Because that goes back to our thoughts. So are we not aware of what we're thinking? A lot of times. Like, I told you that one morning or day I realized like all the things that I've been saying to myself, like I was meditating and all these thoughts that was coming across and I'm like, none of them were positive. Nothing was, it was all like fear, worry, oh shit.
Can I stop you right there? Mm-hmm. At what moment did you, bitch, stop it. At what moment did you, because you know it's coming, your eyes smiling. At what moment did you recognize that none of those thoughts were positive? You see how you was able to distinguish that?
At some point during me meditating and like realizing it.
So at some point you became conscious of that.
Yeah.
Right? That thing, that mode that you switched to was like, that's not
the seat. That's me in the seat. That's me being the watcher.
That's God.
Okay. So that's the I'm gonna call it the watcher, which is what
Michael
calls it, but that's
Michael
God.
He calls it God. Sometimes he calls it the Christ, or he'll relate to like the Christ, you know. But anyway, that to me, and I think that's the same thing that Eric Butterworth is trying to relay in this book I'm currently reading called Practical Metaphysics by Eric Butterworth. And some of his concepts are hard for me to digest in this book particularly, but it's the same thing Mickey's talking about. That we trying to get us to see that God is not this. He uses this huge ass word. My vocabulary skills coming up. Anthropomorphic God.
Okay.
And what that is like we giving God qualities like man, or he's this thing, magic wizard up in the sky. Because if you notice a lot of the like spiritual religious stuff like T.D. Jakes and stuff. Remember that one time you said him and Sarah Jackson, they was pointing up to the sky? You was like, what they pointing at? Like a lot of us do that because we be like, oh God, when we refer to God like he's in the sky. Yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
That's what I think he means by anthropomorphic God, because we think like it's some God sitting off in the sky in the universe or whatever, but that's not God. And we be thinking God gonna come down and save us.
But God is
within you. God is your very own consciousness. Your consciousness of love, truth, and like whatever that all the good shit.
God cannot be defined. God is
ineffable. Like
there you come on now.
Come with the motherfucking word. What's ineffable mean?
Okay. Well, God is everything. God is.
You can't limit.
I think when we really understand that,
yes,
then that's when we'll understand that our power. You know what I'm saying?
You want me to look it up? Ineffable.
Yeah, how you spell that shit? Another thing though that I want to talk about when we finish this. Go ahead.
Too great or extreme to be expressed or described in words. That's ineffable. And I don't take credit for that. That come from my boy Dr. Rocco Erico.
I'm about to put that on the with the shirt with the
ineffable.
Mother, Father, God, Abba,
ineffable.
INEFFABLE.
Ineffable. That was the best word he ever gave me to describe God, because it was like it within that it ain't no description. You can't describe. You know what I'm saying? It's too vast and too wide for us to really comprehend. Put it into.
We just some fucking our human selves. We just limited as fuck. Dog.
We are.
We limit ourselves so much. We don't realize that we are unlimited. We place limits on everything. Nigga, every day we open our eyes, we place limits on things. Yes. Placing a limit on what's gonna come your way.
Absolutely.
We placing a limit on what you're gonna eat for dinner, because you think you know.
Yeah, we place limits on everything. How somebody can show up for you, how they need to love you, how they need to look, how they need to walk, how they need to talk, what kind of job you gonna work, how much money you gonna get paid, what kind of house you gonna live in, what kind of shoes you. I can keep going all day long.
Limit.
Yeah. What kind of woman you gonna be? What kind of man you gonna marry? If you gonna get married, this how I'm gonna get married. This where I'm gonna live. This how many kids I'm gonna have.
So then what you do? Just let go and remember, we don't know shit.
That's it. We
like,
don't know.
Me and Keisha don't know nothing.
We finding that out more and more every day. Like, and that's how we remind each other when we trapping. Like, remember, we don't know shit.
Yeah,
we flowing.
I don't want to know nothing because I'm tired of suffering, y'all. I don't know if y'all tired of suffering, but I know it's my thoughts, and I know it's me not really realizing that God is ineffable.
Ineffable.
F. Yeah, I can remember that.
But like, our boy Mickey, back to Mickey,
okay.
He says Buddha says life is suffering.
Oh. So then there's that. It's because Buddha says life is suffering because we desire, right? Is from what your studies have been? Is that?
But he said that on one of the other things. Mickey said that. Michael Singer said that. That he said this is what he said. Now I'm gonna go read up on Buddha. I'm not too well versed in that area, but Michael Singer says Buddha went off in a cave, lived. Came back after some time, and it's crazy. Michael Singer did that as well, but came back after some time and was like, okay, I know why we suffer. And it's because we have desires, and how he defined desires was coming up with something in your mind and then not, it's almost like I'm trying to catch it, y'all. Coming up with something in your mind or something and being conflicted because the outside doesn't mirror
That makes
that
sense.
in your mind.
That makes complete sense.
Yeah. So instead of just
non-contentment,
instead of just accepting what's in front of you.
Yeah. And I'm scared too, because I don't want this to be it, as if that's gonna be it if I accept it.
You hear what you just said?
No, I know.
I say that shit all the time though. I don't want. You hear that? I don't.
Oh.
I don't want this to be. I don't want that, or I don't want this. Yeah, that. I feel like I got hypertension off that very fucking thing. Always resisting and being just tense all the fucking time going through life. I think I told you that before. Like literally it's like everything. It's like push so forceful because I don't want to do it. Yeah. It's a lot of shit in my life that I don't want to do and I don't want to deal with and I don't want to go through.
But even like dealing with it, but being content, dealing with it, thinking like, if I say, oh, this is fine, I'm so happy with where I am right now, it's just great.
You ain't gotta say that though.
Or I'm okay, I'm actually okay, whatever. Contentment, this is like, yeah,
I'm
okay.
not fucking okay.
But you were saying like, you don't have to be like overjoyed, like I love where I am. Absolutely. And I'm saying, okay, whatever that is, being content with it for me is saying like, I'm okay with where I am, and knowing that just because I'm acknowledging and being okay with where I am, what I have, besides, you should just fucking be grateful. Cause you're alive, like be grateful. But yes, that's getting to my own shit. Cause I just like, why am I not just grateful, nigga? I'm like alive. Like I got all these, like woe is whatever. Like, oh, I don't have enough money, or I don't have the car that I want. Like, why am I judging that? Anyway, but being content with, I'm good, I'm okay, and everything's just fine, and knowing that doesn't mean that nothing's going to change, that things aren't going to change and be different, or quote unquote get better. Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense.
Okay.
And I'm the motherfucker over here like, or like you said, I'm not okay.
Okay.
This is not the place I want to be in my life. Like, this is not okay. You know, this doesn't feel good. Mm-hmm. I'm hurt, or that person hurt my feelings, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. That's the perspective I'm coming from. But recognizing that shit and not being like, I don't want to feel this because it's currently happening. Mm-hmm. So just allowing yourself to process and go through that moment, and then releasing the shit and letting go. It sounds easy, but sometimes it's not a matter of days, weeks, months. Sometimes it could be years. Mm.
Sometimes it could be years to
let it go.
True that.
I want to say that I might not be like a lot of these other spiritual people that's out there, but I do feel like sometimes it takes some time to let shit go.
And it might take time. We don't know. We don't know nothing. But it could take time to let things go. And like, you know, something could have happened to me, 5 years ago, and I might have pushed it away. Mm-hmm. But today in 2023, I'm acknowledging it, and it might just get. Those are the years they have already accumulated. It's been 5 years already. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is included in those years that it might take 5 years. You know,
I'm about to do some shit. Me and Angela always say we not ready to be candid, but fuck it. This is what we here for. I'm about to just be candid.
You about to just be candid, dog? You just gonna be candid.
I'm gonna just be fucking candid, okay? And I'm gonna just go on and put it out there. Like, my daughter's father and his wife, we love each other to death, but we didn't always start here. It was a very crazy situation, and so nevertheless, our relationship ended, and he is currently married to his wife. Now, it didn't all start off pretty like that. I mean, we both was pregnant at the same time. There was a lot of drama mixed up in that. But needless to say, that was very traumatic for me. You know, I'ma just be real about the shit. It was very traumatic for me because I thought that we were gonna be together, and we weren't. And then on top of that, the nigga got married to somebody else. I mean, I feel like my voice getting high as fuck. You feel? Like, let's talk about the shit because that's what we here to be real.
Right.
Okay, my fucking voice was elevating because our daughter, beautiful daughter, is 10 years old.
Before we start, let's put them on pause for the next episode for them to tap in for your story time. We're gonna have some story time next episode, y'all.
Okay.
And you're gonna have story time for the candid episode. Let's call it the candid episode.
This bitch over here, you gonna be candid?
If it come up, I'm gonna try.
Nah, bitch, don't be trying.
So yeah, I'm leaning and shit. Y'all tap in with us on Spotify, Anchor.
Yes.
Anchor for Spotify and YouTube and Instagram and at Trapping with Gods. All right. And y'all tune in next.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll pick up.
We gonna circle back.
So
Angela wanna have what you call it?
I said story time.
Angela want to have a story time episode.
Candid. So y'all come back. We leave you a little cliffhanger. Yeah. I hope that you enjoyed listening to us today because we really enjoyed this conversation. I enjoyed the conversation with you.
I did too.
Yeah,
for sure.
So we'll see y'all next week. Peace.